Ever get that feeling where you've, just scratched the surface of something really big? Like there's this whole world of understanding just waiting, but getting in feels tricky.
Happens all the time.
Well, today that's exactly what we're tackling. We're doing a deep dive into the Thai forest tradition. It's a really compelling branch of Theravada Buddhism, known for its focus on serious meditation and, while sticking close to the original monastic rules, often out in the forest.
Right, exactly. And lucky for us, our source material gives us some fantastic guides.
Yeah.
We're looking at the lives and the core teachings of four really key figures who were just instrumental in spreading this tradition globally.
Okay, who are we talking about?
We've got Ajahn Chah Subbhaddo, then Ajahn Thanissaro Amaro, Ajahn Sumedho, and also Ajahn Thanissaro Bhikkhu.
Ah, Ajahn Chah. He seems to be the anchor for all of this, doesn't he? Hugely respected monk in Thailand in the 20th century, founded Wat Nong Pha Pong. It's pretty amazing how one person can start something with such a wide reach.
Absolutely. Wat Nong Pha Pong really became this spiritual center. And what's so significant, I think, is how Ajahn Chah's way of teaching just clicked with people from the West. It led to this huge transmission, the practices, across continents.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. To really trace those connections, we want to see how the lives, the work of these four figures kind of weave together in this global story.
Yeah, looking at their personal paths, what they achieved, and, the core ideas they taught that have really resonated.
And look, if you're maybe just starting to get familiar with Buddhist ideas, don't worry at all. We'll keep things clear, engaging, focus on what really matters without, getting lost in the weeds.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so let's start at the source, the foundation. Ajahn Chah himself, where did he come from?
Right. Ajahn Chah, born Cha Chuan Shat back in 1918. He grew up in a farming village, pretty rural, in the Isan region of Thailand. That kind of upbringing, you imagine, probably gave him a real connection to nature, which is, like you said, central to the forest tradition.
And he had some early monastic experience, like many kids there.
Yeah. He became a novice monk when he was just 9, spent about 3 years learning to read and write in the monastery, quite young.
That must leave a mark.
You'd think so.
Mm-hmm.
And although he actually went back to lay life for a bit, it seems that early taste stuck with him. He eventually re-entered the monkhood, got full ordination, became a bhikkhu in 1939. That's when he got the name Subbhaddo, meaning well-born.
Now, I read there was a big turning point around 1946 after his father passed away.
Yes, that seems to have been a catalyst. It prompted him to undertake what's called Tudong. It's a kind of wandering ascetic pilgrimage. He was really looking for a deeper, more authentic understanding than maybe the routine monastic life offered at that time.
That search led him somewhere important, right?
It really did. It led him to Ajahn Mun Puradatta. Now, Ajahn Mun was a towering figure, a highly respected meditation master within the forest tradition himself. This meeting was absolutely pivotal for Ajahn Chah.
And what followed?
About 7 years of really intensive, rigorous practice, living rough, in forests, caves, even cremation grounds.
Cremation grounds, wow. That really forces you to confront impermanence, I guess.
Exactly. Contemplating death, reflecting on the transient nature of everything. It's a core practice. And from Ajahn Mun, he got this fundamental teaching. The essence of it all, Ajahn Mun said, is pretty simple. It's about establishing mindfulness, just being aware moment to moment, and recognizing that everything, all our experiences, thoughts, feelings, they all just arise right here in the heart-mind.
Simple but profound.
Deceptively simple, yeah, but incredibly profound when you really unpack it.
So, equipped with this insight, he decides to settle down near his home village.
Yeah, he felt drawn back near his roots. In 1954, he founded Wat Nong Pha Pong. But the location, well, it wasn't exactly prime real estate.
What was wrong with it?
It was apparently in a fever-ridden, dense forest, believed by locals to be haunted even. Not an easy start.
Sounds challenging.
Oh, definitely. Early days were tough. Malaria was a real issue, just finding shelter, getting enough food. But his integrity, his direct, down-to-earth teaching style, it started attracting disciples. And then a really key moment, 1966, the first Westerner arrived. That was Ajahn Sumedho.
We'll definitely talk more about him, but as the community grew, they needed some structure.
Right. By 1957, he established a set of monastic rules in Thai drawn from the Vinaya.
The Vinaya being the main code of conduct for monks and nuns.
Exactly. This provided a clear framework, supported the ethical conduct, and the intense meditation practice that's really the heart of the tradition.
So what were those core teachings of Ajahn Chah that drew people in? You mentioned simplicity.
Simplicity, definitely. Mindfulness, that moment-to-moment awareness, a deep practical understanding of impermanence, anicca, and flowing from that, the importance of letting go, Payanisaga.
Letting go of attachments, expectations.
Mm-hmm. He also had this wonderful phrase, everything is teaching us. Seeing all of life, the good and the bad, as an opportunity for learning and growth. And crucially, he always prioritized training the heart, developing wisdom within, over just, intellectual book learning about Buddhism.
It's about the direct experience.
That's it. Direct experience, practical application. That's what made his teaching so powerful, and I think why it resonated so deeply with those Westerners who came seeking something genuine.
Okay, let's pivot to one of those Westerners then. Ajahn Thanissaro Amaro. Tell us about him.
Okay, Ajahn Amaro. He was born Jeremy Horner in Kent, England in 1956. Quite a different background from Ajahn Chah's rural upbringing.
Yeah, I saw he had a secular education, University of London, studied psychology and physiology, and he mentioned interests like sex, drugs, and rock roll, alongside things like Rudolf Steiner. That's quite a mix.
It really is. It just shows, doesn't it, that the search for meaning, for something deeper, can start from anywhere. It highlights the broad appeal, perhaps.
So how did he end up in Thailand?
Well, he arrived at Wat Pa Nanachat. That's the international monastery Ajahn Chah set up in 1978. He said he was inspired by Ajahn Chah himself, and also by another Western monk already there, Ajahn Pabakaro.
And he ordained fairly quickly.
Yeah, he moved through the stages, lay renunciate, novice, and then got the higher ordination Upasampada directly from Ajahn Chah in 1979. Then followed 2 years of really intensive training there in Thailand.
That direct training must have been formative.
Absolutely crucial. And when he returned to England, he was instrumental, alongside Ajahn Sumedho, in getting Chethurst Monastery, or Siddhaviveka, established. This was really the beginning of the tradition, putting down roots in the UK.
And then he did that incredible walk, the Tudong pilgrimage.
Oh yeah, in 1983, an 830-mile walk. He wrote about it in his book, Tudong, The Long Road North. Just imagine, that really embodies that forced tradition spirit of renunciation and relying on faith and generosity.
Wow. And later he ended up in the U.S.
Right. In the early 90s, he started making teaching trips to Northern California. This eventually led to co-founding Abhayagiri Monastery in Redwood Valley in 96. He was co-abbot there for quite a while, until 2010.
And then back to the UK.
Yes. In 2010, he returned to England to become the abbot of Amaravati Buddhist Monastery, taking over from Ajahn Sumedho when he retired. So he's held these really key leadership roles in major centers on both sides of the Atlantic.
Beyond leading monasteries, what's his contribution?
He's a very prolific writer. He's written a lot, really focusing on making Buddhist practice and philosophy accessible and, relevant for a Western audience. His books and articles are widely read.
And his teaching style, how is it described?
It sounds like he's very skilled at getting across both the big picture, the essence of the teachings, but also the nitty-gritty specifics of how to practice, often using stories, clear explanations, connecting it to daily life.
Makes sense. Bringing those core Ajahn Chah principles, mindfulness, wisdom into a Western context.
Exactly. A big part of his focus seems to be on that integration. How do you genuinely live these principles day to day in Western culture? And navigating that whole cross-cultural transmission piece, which isn't always straightforward, he offers a lot of insight there.
Okay, so that's Ajahn Amaro. Now let's talk about the real pioneer in the West, the first Western disciple we mentioned, Ajahn Sumedho Bhikkhu.
Hi, Ajahn Sumedho, born Robert Jackman in Seattle in 1934. Another really fascinating, varied background.
Yeah, U.S. Navy medic in the Korean War, then degrees from UC Berkeley in Far Eastern and South Asian Studies, then Peace Corps in Borneo teaching English. Quite the journey before becoming a monk.
It really shows again how diverse the paths are. For him, the spark seems to have been quite simple, almost accidental. In 1966, while in Singapore, he just saw a Buddhist monk.
Just saw one, and that was it.
Apparently, that sight ignited something profound in him. It led him to travel to Thailand that same year. He ordained first as a novice, a samanera, and then got full ordination as a bhikkhu in 1967.
And then he spent a long time with Ajahn Chah, right?
A full decade. 10 years, from 1967 to 1977, training directly under Ajahn Chah at Wat Nong Papong. He really became Ajahn Chah's most senior Western disciple during that time.
What was that training like? We hear Ajahn Chah could be quite tough.
Yeah, the accounts suggest it was rigorous, sometimes unconventional. Ajahn Chah used silence, direct questioning, paradox, Methods designed to cut through intellectualization and point straight to direct knowing. Ajahn Sumedho certainly experienced that firsthand.
And he was involved in setting up the international monastery, too.
Yes, he played a key role in establishing Wat Pah Nanachat in 1975 and actually served as its very first abbot. It was specifically for non-Thais, showing Ajahn Chah's foresight.
Then came that trip to England in '77 with Ajahn Chah. That seems like the major turning point for the West.
Absolutely. That visit was pivotal. Ajahn Chah saw the interest there and actually encouraged Ajahn Sumedho to stay and establish a branch monastery. That led directly to Siddhaviveka Chithurst Monastery being founded in 1979.
And then Amaravati followed.
That's right. Amaravati Buddhist Monastery was established in Herefordshire in 1984, and Ajahn Sumedho was the abbot there until he retired in 2010. These two monasteries became incredibly important hubs for the tradition in Europe.
And he was given the authority to ordain others. That's significant.
Very significant. It allowed the Sangha, the monastic community, to grow organically in the West. And notably, he also established the Siladhara 10-precept ordination lineage for women nuns, which is a really important step for female practitioners in the West at that time.
What about his teaching style? How did he connect with people?
He's known for being very clear, very direct, practical, often with a gentle sense of humor too, which probably helped make these profound teachings feel less intimidating.
That practical focus sounds key.
Definitely. He constantly emphasized applying the teachings in everyday life, cultivating this immediate intuitive awareness. You often hear his famous phrase, "Right now it's like this." It's an invitation to just be present with whatever's happening without judgment.
I've heard about his sound of silence teaching too.
Yes, using the ambient sound or the sound of silence as a meditation object. And his core advice often boils down to trust in awareness. Simple but powerful guidance. His role in establishing the tradition in the West, making it accessible, it's just foundational.
Truly paving the way. Okay, one more key figure. Ajahn Thanissaro Bhikkhu.
Right, Ajahn Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Born Jeffrey DeGraff in New York, 1949. Interestingly, like Ajahn Sumedho, he had an early, perhaps formative encounter with Buddhist ideas.
Oh yeah, when was that?
During a high school exchange trip, apparently. He encountered the Four Noble Truths, so that seed was planted quite early, even before college.
And you went to Oberlin, studying European intellectual history.
That's right. Then after graduating, he traveled to Thailand, also on a fellowship.
Did he go straight to Ajahn Chah's monastery?
No, actually. Unlike Ajahn Amaro and Ajahn Sumedho, his path was a bit different. He spent about 2 years searching for the right teacher for him.
And who did he find?
He became a disciple of Ajahn Fuang Jertiko. Ajahn Fuang was a respected monk in the Kamathana tradition, which is closely related to Ajahn Chah's lineage, but traces back more directly through Ajahn Lee Damodaro, another famous forest master. It shows the richness within the broader tradition.
So a slightly different branch, but still within that forest meditation lineage.
Exactly. He ordained in 1976 at Wat Dhammasathat, where Ajahn Fuang was based, and he stayed there, training under him, until Ajahn Fuang passed away in 1986.
And then he came to the U.S.
Yes, in 1991. He was actually invited by another Thai monk, Ajahn Suat Suvako, to help establish Metaforest Monastery, Wat Metavanaram, down in San Diego County, California.
And he's been the abbot there since '93. That makes it the first Thai forest monastery in the U.S., then.
That's correct, the first one established stateside. And his approach there is quite traditional.
How so?
Well, he emphasizes strict adherence to the Vinaya, the monastic code. The monastery relies entirely on donations, and they live a fairly simple, wilderness-based life, really embodying those traditional forest-dwelling ideals.
He also received a significant recognition within the Thai system, didn't he?
Yes, in 1995, he was appointed as the first American-born non-Thai preceptor and upachaya, someone authorized to give ordination within the Dhammayot order, which is one of the main monastic orders in Thailand. He also serves as its treasurer. That shows a deep level of trust and integration.
But perhaps what he's most known for, outside monastic circles, is his translation work.
Oh, absolutely. His work translating the Pali Canon, the oldest collection of Buddhist scriptures, is incredibly extensive and highly regarded. He's translated over 1,000 suttas, discourses of the Buddha, including major texts like the Dhammapada and large parts of the Sutta Pitaka.
And they're known for being accurate and clear.
Very much so. His translations are valued for their precision and readability. They've made these foundational texts accessible to countless English-speaking practitioners and scholars. It's a monumental contribution.
An invaluable resource, really.
Totally. And he's also written many books and study guides himself, like his detailed work on the Buddhist monastic code, which is essential for anyone wanting to understand the Vinaya in depth.
And his teaching emphasizes what?
He really focuses on the strategic purpose behind the Buddha's teachings, seeing them not just as philosophy, but as practical tools, as skills that you actively cultivate to bring about awakening. There's a real sense of practical strategy in his approach.
Fascinating. A scholar's rigor combined with a deep practitioner's understanding.
Precisely. So when you look at all four, Ajahn Chah, Ajahn Amaro, Ajahn Sumedho, Ajahn Thanissaro Bhikkhu, you really start to see this incredible interconnected legacy.
Yeah, you absolutely do. The way the Thai forest tradition expanded globally, it's so clearly linked back to Ajahn Chah and the dedication of all these disciples, both Thai and Western, who trained under him.
And Wat Nong Phapong, his original monastery, it still feels like the spiritual heart of it all, doesn't it? With all these branch monasteries, dozens in Thailand, many more internationally.
And it's still growing. Even after his passing in 1992, they're still founding new places based on his model. That annual gathering there must be quite something.
Yeah, on the anniversary of his death, thousands gather. It speaks volumes about his enduring influence. And the monasteries themselves, they embody the teaching, the discipline, the simple lifestyle, the structures like the ordination hall, ubosat, the memorial chedi, the museum. It all supports the practice.
And Ajahn Sumedho's role in the West, starting Chithurst and Amaravati, you can see how that just opened the floodgates, really, inspiring so many other centers.
Definitely. And Ajahn Amaro has carried that forward so effectively, both at Amaravati and through his writings, reaching so many people.
And together, they and other senior Western monks and nuns have trained generations now, really skillfully bridging those cultural divides with their teaching styles.
Mm-hmm. Then you have Ajahn Thanissaro Bhikkhu firmly establishing Metaphorist Monastery in the U.S., providing that dedicated space over there.
And his translations. I mean, you can't overstate their importance for Westerners wanting to connect with the original texts, plus his work clarifying the Vinaya for Western monastic communities.
It's crucial work for the long-term health and integrity of the Sangha in the West.
So looking at the whole picture, it's just undeniable. These four individuals, their lives intertwined, their dedication, it's profoundly shaped contemporary Buddhism, hasn't it? Offering this clear path to people all around the world.
It really has. Ajahn Chah laid such a powerful foundation, and then these three key Western disciples, each in their own unique way, just carried that wisdom forward, adapted it, nurtured it, and helped it flourish across cultures. It's quite a story of transmission.
It really is. Okay, so maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. We've talked about Ajahn Sumedho's focus on that immediate right-now awareness. We've looked at Ajahn Amaro's emphasis on integrating practice into, regular Western life, and Ajahn Thanissaro's deep dive into the original texts and monastic discipline.
Three distinct yet related approaches, all stemming from Ajahn Chah.
Exactly. So considering these different flavors, these different points of emphasis, what aspect of Buddhist practice, perhaps as exemplified by one of these teachers, resonates most strongly with you right now in your own life situation? And maybe, just maybe, why do you think that particular aspect calls to you at this moment?
It's a great question for reflection.
Definitely something to think about, and we really do encourage you to explore the teachings of these amazing individuals further. There's so much wisdom there to uncover on your own journey.